Hey everybody, welcome to Eyes on the Harvest podcast. It's been a couple weeks since we've seen y'all. BJ's been making some shorts and stuff.
Wait a minute, you've seen them before?
What?
I'm just
Really?
saying you've
Dad
seen them.
jokes. Dad jokes already. So yes, I've seen them. I know the people that like our videos.
You know them personally?
A lot of them. No, I'm a stalker, right? But anyway, we're coming from a new spot. Quite a few changes in the past couple weeks. Moving to a new house.
And it's not because we're YouTube millionaires yet.
Right, no, that's not it at all. So my brother and his wife, Vanda, that you've heard me speak about, they're moving back to Ohio. And Brianna and BJ are actually moving here into this house, which is where John and Vanda were. And I'm keeping my room no matter what anybody says. So, because I lived with John and Vanda, and now I'm going to be living with Brianna and BJ. And they haven't kicked me out yet, but hopefully they don't. So we're trying. They raised my rent already, but that's okay.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
That must have been a girl thing. I mean,
Right, that was all Brianna. But Brianna's a slumlord. But anyway. A couple of other things. In this episode this week, we're going to be talking about stages of grief, how to deal with some grief. In our personal life, we lost my stepfather, his father-in-law, Bob Manning, Robert Manning. We lost him unexpectedly. No major health issues. We thought that he was going to outlive us all because, that's just who he was. And so, shock at first and extremely upset and confused and so many different things. Everyone who listens to us that, knows us personally, we thank you for your prayers. We thank you for your support. We felt the prayers. We felt the love from every one of you, and it was greatly appreciated, and it was definitely needed by us for sure. And that's, kind of why we wanted to talk about what we're talking about today, is, the grief process, the 5 steps of grief, how, our faith is included in that. And, but first of all, I think we're both going to say something about Bob, since we've lost him. Bob was my stepdad. And if you've watched other videos, Bob and I's relationship was never perfect. It was up and down. It was, I think every stepson relationship there's always something. It's, and it was always that. My fondest memories of him will be when I had my business, and I started my business out of his garage. And he would tell people how proud he was of me. And just because I stepped out to start my business. And honestly, he was the only one that I wanted to make proud. And meant a lot to me. And really all I was doing was going on his advice. I was just listening to his advice, and that's why I was as successful as I was. And he always said that he wasn't smart because he only went to the 5th grade, but he was extremely smart. And for going to the 5th grade, he did way better than most people that I know. And because he worked hard, and he never took no for an answer, and he did what he dreamed to do. And with that, I'll let BJ say what he wants to say about it.
well, when I came into the picture, he was already retired, and he was into his stages of just relaxing and enjoying life. Well, I can't really say relaxing. That man never really relaxed, but it was those days that I'd always have phone calls. Hey, can you come help me do this?
Right.
Can
So,
you come help me?
Was it? Did you really meet Bree that late? Had he already retired? He had already sold the shop.
Well, when I moved here, he sold the shop and stuff like that in January of 18.
Mm-hmm.
I moved here in April of 18.
Wow. See, I thought you were there.
No, wait. No, I moved here in February. We got married in April.
Okay.
So, yeah, he already sold he just sold the shop.
Wow. So you never even saw the business. You never.
No.
Well, you knew where it was.
The first time I really like been there, Frank owned it, and I was there for the electric and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But no, we owned that building since 92.
Mm-hmm.
1992.
Yeah.
Yeah. But go ahead.
He's always owned businesses though. Since the 80s, he's owned businesses, and like you said, he never even. He went to the 5th grade.
Yeah.
Never even went into middle school.
Yeah.
And if you owed him money, he knew math really good.
Yeah. He liked to add dollars.
He learned how to count and use the money, huh?
Right.
But one of my fondest memories of him, like that I really, really enjoyed doing is we went to West Virginia one time with him and stayed at the trailer over there.
Mm-hmm.
And we went up the mountain to the farm and stuff like that. And he got to show us where he lived when he was little and stuff like that. And it was awesome. Yeah.
It's way back there.
Oh, it is.
It's like, dude, there's no road.
And it's like straight up a mountain.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what is it, like 7 miles?
I think so.
It's like 7 miles off the road is where their farm was. Like 7 miles off the road today.
Mm-hmm.
So, back then.
Yeah, and it's all like lime, not lime rock. We live in Florida, everything's lime rock here.
Right.
But it's all like pebbles and like,
But so you know the fence at the trailer?
Mm-hmm.
Was it still silver?
Little bits and pieces of it, yeah.
Dude.
You know that time that we went to the trailer, your mom mowed the grass?
Wow. That's a miracle.
I think I got a video of it. I might show
we
you.
gotta get the video. Mom actually mowing the yard. But that fence, dude, that paint has been on that fence since I was like 10.
Are you the one that painted it?
Of course.
Of course.
It was me and John. We painted it all day long.
With spray paint?
No, with a roller and a brush.
You painted a fence with a roller and brush?
Welcome to Bob Manning's world.
Oh my god.
The cheapest way is the only way.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you know how to save money.
Dude, that paint worked though.
I know. So did the coffee can.
What coffee can?
When he had to make the air thing for his car, he used the coffee can.
Oh yeah.
Or when he cut your mom's iron.
Yeah, he cut the cord off an iron to wire the fan in the car so we wouldn't overheat.
Wire it up to the battery.
Yeah, he wired it to the battery. And then Mom complained about her iron the rest of the way. He's like, well, we could have been stuck on the side of the road, But that's just who he was.
I mean, I guess she wouldn't have wrinkles in her clothes.
What?
Well, she would have still, because she didn't have any power. Huh?
Right. So, but yeah, we're gonna miss him. Keep my mom and all of us in your prayers, especially Mom. We're gonna miss him. He was crazy, and but we definitely loved him, and he taught us all something special, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, obviously, with everything that we've gone through, all the changes that we've gone through, BJ brought up last night when we were talking about this, like the 5 stages of grief, and he knows them better than I do. So I'm going to hand him my phone because I have them in front of me because he sent them to me.
Mm-hmm.
But talk about the 5 stages of grief, and how you can kind of go through this process and how it,
Yeah. Well, the first initial step is denial.
Right.
Like, when it first happens, you can't believe it. You're just in awe and just, I can't believe that this happened. Like with Dad, we thought that he would live forever. Like, the man put his arm in a rototiller, for God's sake, and cut his arm, almost cut his arm off. And,
and was back to work next week.
And we've known him to tape his fingers back on and go back to work.
Watch them do it.
So, so the first step is denial. Like, this can't happen. It's just a dream, you know. So we want to go through the second one
Yeah.
since you have your phone.
And the second one is anger, which we had that too.
But this anger is not toward anybody. This
Right.
anger is toward yourself. Like having anger toward yourself. Like, I could have done this better. I wish I would have done that. That
Right.
kind of anger. Toward
Well, and I think I had even mentioned that on a post on Facebook the day of the layout.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so many times that are running through my mind, I'm mad. Like, I could have been I could have been such a better son.
Yeah.
You know, I could have picked up the phone when he called.
Mm-hmm.
I could have listened.
Yeah, and we can't live in the wouldas and the shouldas and the couldas because they're all gone already.
Right.
We can only live forward.
Right.
But still in that, you know, second part of the grief cycle is anger,
Right.
and it could be toward other people.
It may cause you to snap at other people when you really don't mean to. You know, because your emotions are already on edge. You know, but you're more angry at the situation.
Yeah.
Because you at that point you're out of the denial phase and you're kind of just mad about everything.
Yep.
Yep. And then the third one.
So the third one is bargaining. It says in this stage, individuals may seek to retain control by making details or bargains, often with a higher power. So, like, God, if you wouldn't have done this, I wouldn't. If you don't do this, I'll do
Right.
this, and so
Heal and bring him back.
in hopes
know.
of
Yeah.
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 So, like, if, and again, in this stage, if I would have done stuff differently,
Mm-hmm.
like if I could just rewind time and just do something different.
Right. And it still feels weird with the time part of it. Because 2 weeks ago he was here.
Yeah.
You know, 2 weeks ago I got a phone call from him.
Well, to be honest with you, we're just up there on vacation.
Yeah, you were just there and went to church with him.
And 2 days later, we were getting a phone call that he passed away, and then 2 hours later, we're in the car.
Yeah.
Like, it
Right.
just happened so quick.
Well, I even had the denial part, like going back a little bit, the denial part. So how it happened for me is I was on the phone and I was in my room and Vanda came in my room and said, "Hey, Mike, Bob died." And I'm like, "No, like, that ain't right." You know? And she's like, "Well, your mom and David are following him to the hospital in the ambulance." And I'm like, "Okay, like, is he dead?" And she's like, "Well, David was doing CPR and they're on their way to the hospital." So at that moment, I literally started driving to your house to get to Brianna.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first thought. Johnny was gone, who's our brother. So my first thought was Brianna.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's my sister, that's her dad. So that was my first thought. And the whole way there, I'm like, there's no way he's gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's Bob. That he's gonna outlive us all. He's the hillbilly, crazy,
Yeah.
nut that tapes fingers on. Like, he's gonna tell his heart to start beating again, and it's gonna start beating. But so just kind of redoing this. So you got denial, anger, and bargaining, and then your fourth one is depression. And I haven't reached that stage yet. Sad, yes.
Only because I think that he wouldn't want us to sit around and be sad.
100%. 100%.
And it's different for everybody. It's different but for us, I don't know if we would reach that part of it.
Right.
Because
Brianna and Mom, maybe his other kids, Bobby and David and Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he raised me since I was 8, so I mean, I was with him a long time. But I know that he wouldn't want me to be sitting around. Boy, get up and go to work. That's exactly what he would tell me to do.
Yeah.
I remember when his brother William died.
Mm-hmm.
He found out and he goes, "Well, I'm going to work."
Yeah.
That's how he was. That's how he dealt with anything, really, was to get up and go to work.
To keep your mind off of
Yeah.
it and just keep it going.
Yep. And that's what he would want us to do,
Mhm.
for sure. And then the last one is acceptance. The last step in the grieving process is acceptance. Not quite sure that I've accepted it. Because kind of, but there's still things that are happening because of his death.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
I think John and Vanna moving is partially because of that. They were planning on moving anyway, but like next year.
Okay.
And I think this kind of helped push them towards that. Like, hey, you don't have tomorrow.
Mhm.
You know, and my brother misses his kids and now his grandkids. So I think that pushed them. I think it's probably pushing mom to sell the house and come here faster. I'm still betting that mom stays in Ohio because her favorite, my brother John, is there now. But we'll see. That's my bet.
Yeah, I don't know, but the acceptance part, being the last one, that doesn't mean that it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Just because we're saying it's the acceptance, it doesn't mean it's gonna all be okay. It's just coming to grips with, like, you can't change it.
Right.
Like, it's already done. It's,
Yeah.
what's done is done, and what's gonna be is what you're gonna make of it. And it's
Yeah.
just accepting that you don't have any control of it,
Yeah.
and it wasn't in your hands to begin with.
Yeah. It's very true.
You know, I want to ask you a question. Okay,
Okay.
have you ever heard the phrase "good grief"?
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
I don't get it either.
So how is grief good? I mean, is it a double negative, an oxymoron? What, I don't.
I'm not sure.
You ever thought about that?
No. But I've said it. I've said good grief
Mm-hmm.
or good gosh.
But so, what's the definition of grief? Or we're talking about grief and stuff like that. Like what?
I'm not sure. What is it? Hold on. Do you know it?
It's like a deep sorrow for someone that's lost.
Okay.
Someone that you lost, or a part of your life that's been lost.
Okay. So yeah, good grief would not make sense at all.
No. So how many times do we speak of stuff and say stuff,
Mhm.
and we don't know really what we're saying?
Yeah.
How can we apply grief in the Bible? You know, the shortest verse in the whole Bible is what?
Jesus wept.
So
John
Jesus
11:35.
even had grief.
Yeah.
So we know that we're going to have to go through life
Right.
with it too.
Right.
And I think that in this podcast, you can learn more of how to deal with that grief.
Right. And
And to know that everybody does it.
Right.
Everybody.
Yeah. I mean, everybody grieves. It may not be just be death. It could be changes in life. It could be changes in a career.
Any loss.
A
You lose
dog.
your job, yeah.
Yeah. You know, this past year, we're coming up on a year. We're 25 days away from a year
Mhm.
since everything went down in my life, and I'll never forget that day.
And you went through it so much that you know to the day and the time. And it's been a year.
Dude, it was like 11:38.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
understand. Yeah.
And but you know, yeah, I've moved on and gone past all that, and this whole year has been up and down and roller coasters and lawyers and everything else. And my grief right now is I want everything to stop changing.
But the reality of it is that it's not going to
Right.
start changing.
So my thing is, since September 25th of last year,
Mm-hmm.
nothing has stayed the same longer than 2 or 3 months.
So with that, you can embrace the change.
Right.
And the only thing that is going to change is change.
Right. And well, what my hope is like, because at first we moved in with John and Amanda, and I switched jobs from being a cop to being a manager at Take 5. That changed, and then we find out we're going to Florida. Now they're going back to Ohio, and I'm living with you instead of John and Amanda. Like, nothing has stayed consistent. And my hope is like, now that John has moved back and you guys are here and Mom's coming, hopefully I can get on this path and have consistency to I've said in every podcast, I serve a God of restoration. And I've truly lived that. There is no doubt in my mind. And you've seen it.
Yeah.
And, but other parts of my life that I want to work on and fix, I need a little more consistency, I guess. But I mean, it's all up to me with dealing with it. It's not just
Well, I'll be honest with you though. So in our life, we try to remove the chess pieces.
Yeah.
We try to fix everything.
I thought that last night.
But the thing is God is letting us hit our head and saying, when are you going to rely on me?
Right.
When are you going to stop and just do what I tell you to do and let me do it?
Right. And, I'm way better at that than I was this time last year.
Listen, I'm way better at saying it than letting it happen.
We're all guilty of that. It's easier to tell somebody, hey, just God's in control. But when you can just grab something by the horns,
And being a man, you want to be.
Oh, you want to be everything.
And you want to fix everything.
Yeah, that's our job. We're the provider, the protector, the leader of our home, the spiritual leader of our homes.
Mm-hmm.
So you just want to grab everything by the horns and lead the way that you think you're supposed to. And sometimes you just got to sit back and let him work.
The worst thing about that is grabbing everything by the horns and leading it, thinking that it's the right way. And you take your whole family in a way that God doesn't want.
I've been guilty of it.
And then that can lead into grief.
Yeah.
Because being out of the will of God.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Job.
Yeah.
You know what? Job said, the thing that I feared the most happened.
Yeah. And his fear was his
losing stuff.
Yeah.
He went up and he sacrificed for his kids every single day because he feared of losing them.
Yeah.
And the thing that he feared the most and the thing that he sacrificed for the most, he lost.
Yeah. And, yeah. And that, it's funny because the Bible says that Job was perfect and upright before God. And he still lost everything, except his wife. You know what I mean?
You made Satan go to heaven and ask God, hey, can I mess with him?
Right.
Can I? And God said, do whatever you want, just don't kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. But, no, so I think change, grief, it's all kind of in both of our lives right now.
Yeah.
And probably everybody's life. This year's crazy. We got an election coming. Everybody's worried about that.
Look at all the change that COVID had on everybody's life.
Dude, it's still in the gas world. I'm working in the gas industry again. I still see the changes in it because of COVID.
Yeah.
Just drivers' DOT hours and stuff like that. Rules and regulations inside the booth where they're loading the truck. Just stupid stuff like that. And it's still in effect. And, but the election's coming, people are stressed about that. Things are tight, things are expensive. Life changes every day, and when you got craziness going on and death going on, and it can be difficult. But what I would come down to is, one, the joy of the Lord is our strength.
Yeah.
Jesus is our strength. There is no question about that whatsoever. Without him, I am nothing. And Jesus is our peace. He gives peace that passes all understanding.
The Prince of Peace.
He's the Prince of Peace. That's it. And that's what we really need to lean on. And it's easy to say, harder to do sometimes, like you said. But that's, I think, with grief, with change, with anything in life, is to know that the joy of the Lord is your strength, and that he is the Prince of Peace. And with him, you'll have both in every single situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's good for this podcast. We're about to run out of time. But
yeah. We love you guys. We thank you for the prayers. And you say what you say.
What's up with the 90s peace signs, bro?
Oh, I love the 90s peace sign. Peace out, baby.
Keep your eyes on the harvest. Until next time, this is Barabbas.
Mike.
See ya.
See you.